Most people who say, I want to buy a gas station, don't realize they haven't actually answered the question yet. Are you buying land and building from scratch? Are you buying an existing operating business? Or are you paying for the right to operate someone else's location under a lease? Those are three completely different deals, three different risk profiles, three different business plans. And mixing them up is one of the most expensive mistakes a first-time buyer can make. I'm going to break all three down, what each one actually requires, what it proves to a bank or a partner, and which one fits your situation. This video is for three people. If you are a first-time buyer confused by listings that say business only, real estate included, or new development, this will clear that up. If you already own a station and you are deciding whether your next move should be buying, building, or leasing, this will sharpen that decision. And if you are going to a bank or raising money from partners, this will show you exactly what your business plan needs to prove depending on the path you choose. My name is Rizwan Shuja. I have owned and operated 20 plus gas stations across Central Texas since 2004. I have bought existing stations, operated under leases, and built new locations with partners from the ground up. So I'm not looking at this like a consultant. I'm looking at it like an owner-operator who has made decisions in all the three models and lived with the consequences. If you are serious about figuring out which path is right for your situation, the link for my 45-minute strategy call is in the description. Now let's get into it. First, understand what a business plan is really for. Before we compare the three models, let's be clear on what a business plan actually does. Because most first-time buyers get this wrong, a business plan has two jobs. Internally, it gives you a roadmap, what needs to happen, who is responsible, when do you break even, what happens if sales come in 20% below projection. Externally, it sells the investment case to a banker, to an investor, to a partner. Here's where people make a critical mistake. They write the same plan for every audience. That doesn't work. A banker wants to know if the loan is safe. They want collateral, cash flow coverage, and downside projection. They don't care about your vision. An investor wants to know if the return is real. They want realistic projections and a clear exit. A partner wants to know if the work and reward are divided fairly. They want defined roles and clear accountability. The plan has to match the audience, and the plan has to match the path. Because in gas stations, the path changes everything. Let's start with the most complex one. Model 1. Ground up build. A ground up build means you are not buying an existing gas station. You are finding land, getting approvals, designing the project, installing tanks, building the store, installing pumps, building the canopy, negotiating fuel supply, hiring people, stocking inventory, and opening from zero. This isn't just a gas station business. This is a development construction project. And the business plan for a development project has to prove one thing before anything else. Why this location? If the location is wrong, nothing else in the plan matters. You need to study traffic counts, not just how many cars pass, but which direction they are going. Is this site on the going to work side or the going home side? Can fuel trucks enter cleanly? Can customers exit without fighting traffic? Is there a hard corner, a traffic light, highway access? Then you study the surrounding population. How many rooftops are nearby? Is the area growing? What's the income level? Are there apartments coming? New subdivisions, schools, warehouses, or industrial parks nearby? A gas station doesn't live only on traffic. It lives on daily habits. Coffee on the morning commute, fuel on the way home, lunch traffic, beer and snacks in the evening, lottery customers, contractors, truck drivers. So your plan needs to show who the customer is and why they will stop at your location specifically. Then you map competition. How many stations are already nearby? What brands? Who has food? Who has diesel? Who has a car wash? Who is weak? Who is strong? If there are already 4 strong stations on the same corner, your plan better show the gap. Not assume goodwill and optimism will win. Maybe the area is growing faster than existing stores can serve. Maybe every nearby station is old and poorly managed. Maybe there is no clean food option anywhere in the 2-mile radius. Maybe your corner has a better ingress. Find the gap, prove it. What the ground up business plan must prove. Beyond location, the plan covers permitting, construction timeline, capital budget, management team, and risk controls. The financials are important, but they are entirely projection based because there are no historical sales. That makes every assumption critical. Your banker knows this, so your plan must explain every number. Projected fuel gallons, inside sales, labor, fuel margin, inside margin, construction interest, opening working capital, and the full development timeline from site selection through grand opening. And that timeline is where most people underestimate the risk. Finding land is step 1. Getting from land to open, stabilized, profitable gas station typically takes 18 to 36 months, and every month of delay is a month of interest cost with zero revenue coming in. Now, who should build ground up? This path suits someone who controls a strong piece of land, understands traffic and demographics, has patient capital, can survive 18 to 36 months before full stabilization, and has development experience or strong partners who do. Who should avoid it? A first-time buyer with limited cash who needs income quickly. If you have never managed construction and you're relying on perfect projections, a ground-up build is not where you start. For most first-time buyers, buying an existing station is the safer entry point. Now, model 2. Buying an existing gas station. Buying an existing gas station is completely different from building one. The gas station is already operating, customers already exist, fuel volume is real, inside sales are real, expenses are real, the tanks, pumps, canopy, store, and vendor contracts already exist. So your business plan isn't trying to prove that a market might exist. It's trying to prove 3 things. Are the numbers real? Is the infrastructure sound? Can I improve the business after I close? This is usually the easiest path for lenders to understand because there's already operating history and cash flow. But it's also where buyers get tricked because bad numbers can look good on papers. A seller tells you inside sales are $120,000 a month. Your first question shouldn't be sounds good. It should be, what does the POS say? What do 3 years of tax returns show? What do bank deposits confirm? What do vendors purchase invoices say? What do fuel jobber statements show? What does lottery commission data show? You cannot build a business plan on what the seller says. You build it on what you can verify. If the numbers don't talk to each other, if cigarette sales are high but tobacco invoices don't support it, if fuel volume is high but jobber statements are lower, slow down. That's not a negotiating point, that's a red flag. Now let's go over what the acquisition business plan must prove. Financial verification is the foundation. Beyond the P&L, you want POS reports cross-checked against tax returns, vendor invoices cross-checked against category sales, and bank deposits matched to reported cash revenue. Infrastructure is next. How old are the underground storage tanks? Are they fiberglass or steel? Any known environmental issues? How old are the pumps? Are they EMV compliant? How old is the canopy, the roof, the HVAC, the coolers? A station may show solid profit on paper, but if it needs $250,000 in deferred maintenance in 1 year, that changes the deal significantly. Then the fuel supply and jobber contract. Who supplies the fuel? Is the station branded or independent? How many years are left on the contract? Are there minimum gallon requirements? Are there image upgrade mandates from the brand? Can you renegotiate at renewal? Many buyers ignore the jobber contracts entirely. That's a mistake because the fuel contract affects your margin, your brand restrictions, and sometimes your ability to sell the business later. And always ask, why is the seller selling? Is it retirement? Burnout? Is it competition coming? Is the lease expiring? Is a road project about to cut access? Is a new station opening nearby? You can't always know the full truth, but you can ask sharper questions on branded versus independent. Now, on branded versus independent, a branded station, Shell, Chevron, Exxon, Valero, brings customer recognition and sometimes fuel supply advantages. But it comes with rules, image standard, required upgrades, restricted vendors, and fuel supply lock-ins that affect your margins and exit. An independent station gives you more flexibility. You control pricing, suppliers, and the store concept. But you have to earn customer trust without a national sign. Your business plan needs to show how. Neither is automatically better, but they are different plans. Now, who should buy an existing station? Buying is best for someone who can do real due diligence, wants cash flow sooner than a build allows, can operate from day one and knows how to improve what already exists. The best existing station deals have either strong numbers at a fair price or average numbers with clear upside. An undermanaged store, missing food service, poor layout, high shrink, a strong operator can fix those things. But if your location is poor, the lease is weak, and the infrastructure is aging, don't convince yourself you're finding a bargain. Sometimes cheap is cheap for a reason. Now let's talk about lease or sublease, because this is where a lot of first-time buyers get attracted by the lower upfront capital and end up in a structure they didn't fully understand. In a lease or sublease deal, you are not buying the real estate, you are not buying the building, you are buying the business rights, the goodwill, the inventory, maybe the equipment. And then you operate under a lease or sublease agreement with a landlord or master tenant. The upfront cost is often lower, but here is what most people miss. The lease becomes the business. If the lease is weak, the business is weak. If the landlord is unreasonable, your business is exposed. If the rent is too high, profit disappears even when sales are strong. If the term is too short, your resale value disappears when you want to exit. If you can't assign the lease to a future buyer, your exit becomes nearly impossible. This is why a leasehold business plan is not primarily about revenue projections. It's about control. How much control do you actually have? For how long? At what cost? And can you exit cleanly if you need to? What the lease business plan must prove. The lease economics are the foundation. Rent level, lease terms, renewal options, rent escalations, triple net charges, maintenance responsibilities, specifically who is responsible for the underground storage tanks, the pumps and the canopy, which are the expensive items, assignment rights, personal guarantee terms, fuel deposit, and working capital requirements. The model needs to prove rent coverage. After fuel profit, inside gross profit, labor, utilities, insurance, credit card fees, shrink, and all other operating costs, can the business comfortably pay the rent? Not barely, comfortably. If a store generates $20,000 net before rent and the landlord wants $18,000 a month in rent, that is not a business. That's a trap with a gas pump in front of it. You also have to think carefully about goodwill. A seller might ask for $500,000 in goodwill to take over a lease. But if that lease has only 5 years left with no renewal option, what are you actually buying? Can you recover that goodwill in 5 years? Will the landlord approve an assignment when you try to sell? Will the rent increase sharply at renewal? Or will the landlord simply not renew and reclaim the location? A lease model works when the lease is long, the rent is sustainable, the location is genuinely strong, the landlord relationship is stable, and assignment rights give you the real exit. It fails when any one of those conditions is missing. Now, who should consider leasing? Leasing can be the right entry for someone with less capital who wants to learn operations before taking on real estate risk. As long as they negotiate strong lease terms, the mistake is thinking that lower capital automatically means lower risk. Sometimes it means less control, which over time can mean more risk. A weak lease is not a lower risk path. It's a different kind of risk, one that often doesn't show up until year 3 or 4 when the landlord has leverage and you don't. If you are looking at a specific deal right now and trying to figure out which of these 3 structures you actually walking into, I do paid 45-minute strategy calls. We look at your specific situation together. First 15 minutes are diagnostic. If it's not a fit, I'll tell you and refund you. Link is in the description. Now back to the video. The framework, which path fits you. Now that you understand all 3 models, here I would help you decide which one fits. 7 questions. Answer them honestly. 1. How much capital do I actually have after keeping working capital in reserve? Not how much I can raise in theory. How much I have right now that I can deploy without putting myself in a dangerous position. 2. Do I need cash flow within the next 12 months or can I wait 2 or 3 years for a build to stabilize? 3. Do I understand construction, permitting and development? Or do I only understand operations? If the answer is operations only, a ground up build without experienced development partner is a dangerous starting point. 4. Can I verify the seller's number with 3 years of tax returns, POS data, jobber statements, and vendor invoices? Or am I being asked to trust the seller? 5. Do I control the real estate long term or does a landlord control my future renewal and exit? 6. Who will run the store every day? If the answer is me full time indefinitely, your business plan needs to account for that. If the answer is a manager or managing partner, the structure needs to be defined before you close. 7. What is my exit if the plan doesn't work in a build? You own real estate, you can sell. In an acquisition, you own an operating business, you can sell. In a lease, your exit depends entirely on lease assignment rights and whether the business has value independent of the location. Those 7 questions will point you to the right path, not the most exciting path, the right one. Here is the bottom line. Before you say, I want a gas station, you need to know which game you are actually playing. 1. Buying a development game. The business plan proves the location, the project, and your ability to execute before a single gallon of fuel is sold. 2. Buying is a due diligence game. The business plan proves the numbers are real, the infrastructure is sound, and there is a clear improvement plan after closing. 3. Leasing is a contract and operations game. The business plan proves the lease gives you enough control, enough term, and a viable exit, and that the operator can actually make money after the rent. Same industry, same fuel, same convenience store. 3 completely different plans. 3 completely different risks. The serious buyers separate them. The confused buyers mix them together and wonder why the deal fell apart. Know which one you are buying before you sign anything. 3 things you can do right now. All links are in the description below. If you are looking at a specific deal and want help figuring out which model you are in and whether it makes sense, book a paid 45-minute strategy call. That's where we get into the actual numbers. If you are still in research mode, join my free business growth webinar. It covers deal evaluation and financing from the operator's perspective. And subscribe because next I'm breaking down the SBA loan process specifically for gas stations. What gets you approved, what gets you rejected, and which type of buyer I tell to skip the SBA entirely. I'll see you in the next one.